Okay, we are live, and I'd like to call to order the meeting of the St. Lawrence County Industrial Development Agency for April 16th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mr. Blevins,
Here.
Mr. Hall,
Here.
Mr. LaBeouf, Mr. McMahon,
Here.
Mr. Morrill,
Here.
Mr. Reagan,
Here.
Mr. Staples.
Here.
We have a quorum. Public notice went out April 10th, 2025. Is there any public comment? Hearing none, seeing none. Approval of the minutes from the March 25th, 2025 meeting. Do we have a motion? Here. So moved. Second, Steve. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. No financial report. No committee reports. Staff report, Mr. Kelly.
Just like to point out that we did an Empire State Mines visit and tour this morning that I participated in with the IDA. They did an underground and above ground tour with the Governor Area Development Corporation, as well as some board members and staff from the Development Authority of the North Country. I think it was a very interesting tour. Got to see not only the above ground processing, but also quite an extensive underground tour. They showed us where the equipment is going to go for the graphite demonstration facility, for which the IDA LDC approved the loan package at our last meeting. Mark, anything, you were there?
No, it's, if you get the opportunity, I would take it.
Is the graphite below or above ground?
Above.
Above, right. So I thought. Okay.
Yep, but they were showing us where the processing equipment's going to be within the facility. So it was interesting to see the area they have for the layout of the equipment that's going to do the demonstration process.
I never thought of that part. How far is it from where the surface mining is, where the
Graphite.
processing is? Yeah, thanks.
It's close. It's within the main grounds of the.
Oh, it is, okay.
Yes.
All right.
I specifically how close I can get you, but it's not far. We hosted Empire State Development on a site visit in St. Lawrence County a couple of weeks ago. We showed them a number of our sites, some of the larger ones where we work with either private owners or other development organizations. We're always trying to raise our profile, so when a lead comes into New York State, they're aware of what we have up here and what's available. On that visit, we showed them sites here, the 30 Buck Street building, this park. We showed them numerous properties in the Messina area, Ogdensburg area. We also took them on a visit to Empire State Mines, the strategic business representative for New York State, who handles things like electric vehicles and other related to mineral type products, was up here. So we wanted to connect them with the folks at the mines. That was a good meeting. We heard a little bit about that today. On a positive note, and there's a resolution today that reflects this, we submitted a pre-application to the Northern Border Regional Commission for a project with the 30 Buck Street facility. They have invited us to apply, and we have the resolution authorizing that we apply on today's agenda. Just a couple of event and activities, or a few.
Can I stop you there?
Yes.
Why $500,000? Is that what they limited
Yes,
to?
for this kind of project, that was yep.
Just to follow up on that, are there possibilities of more from them afterwards?
It's conceivable. I think it depends on where we are in the project. I suspect we have done NBRC projects for infrastructure. We did one for the 100 Patterson Street facility. I don't think, unless they have a special program for a special industry, it's unlikely we'd go back for another application for the same property, but I wouldn't rule it out. Like for example, for the North American Forest Group, Pat Curran's sawmill, that's a Northern Border and an EDA combined wood products industry program where they had a special program for that industry. If something like that comes up and it fits for the building, we might do it again.
Okay, just curious. Follow up.
Yep. Let's see, Lori and Bob attended the Messina Job Fair last week. Since we've last met, or since I last gave you a staff report, we participated in the Southwest Tech BOCES Open House in February, the SUNY Canton Open House in March. We were at the Aeromart Trade Show in Montreal in March. We're hosting a real estate roundtable here next Thursday. There's a Chamber Business Mixer event April 29th. Lori is participating also on April 29th in a comprehensive learning needs assessment for BOCES career and technical education. That is, they bring a bunch of people together and have them, why don't you tell them what that is?
Yeah.
Briefly.
It's to review the curriculums with BOCES to be sure that they're meeting the needs of the employers in the area. So
I think speaks well for the work that we're doing in workforce, that they want us at that table and help to reflect what we're hearing from other employers. Bob is going to the select.
I have a question concerning BOCES. In Jefferson County, don't they, I believe in Jefferson County, they're doing a LPN, licensed practical nurse program, as well as JCC doing the RN program. And I'm curious why, if Jefferson BOCES can do an LPN program, why can't St. Lawrence BOCES do one?
I don't have an answer for that. We can check and get back to you.
Doesn't SUNY Canton do that already though?
They do, but it would seem to me, if we're trying to help make sure kids are employable when they get out of high school, that having a actual LPN versus a CNA puts them much more on the track to a career, and it just seems to me at
Does SUNY
least.
Canton do the CNA? Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying SUNY Canton does an LPN
Right,
and SUNY Canton does an RN.
right.
But Jefferson County has an RN program at Jefferson Community College. But Jefferson County BOCES does an LPN. And I don't understand why Jefferson BOCES can do one, why St. Lawrence BOCES can't do one. And because I know when I was a kid, I had friends who were very bright, and as part of their Regents program, they also were in the LPN program and got, when they got out of high school and an LPN, they got jobs, part-time jobs that helped pay their way to college. And they got paid a lot more than those of us who were digging ditches, for minimum wage. And so, I mean, it's just, we know that kids that we have a big need for nurses in the North Country. Every hospital, every healthcare agency is desperate for nurses, is paying, huge amounts of money to bring in nurses from outside. And I don't think we do enough here in this county to produce our own. There's my speech.
My answer remains the same. I can ask them.
So much for this being a quick meeting now that we've got Jim on the soapbox.
We'll check and get back to you. Bob's going to Select USA in Washington DC in May. That's a US Department of Commerce Business Matchmaker Program. Lori's going to the Fort Drum Career Fair, May 15th. And we're also going to be attending Adirondack Day in Albany on May 5th and the Adirondack Planning Forum, May 8th in Saranac Lake. I have provided to everybody your hard copies of our annual report, which we discussed at our last meeting. We have provided the Board of Legislators, everybody's got one, and we're in the process of distributing them as we're out meeting with different groups and having different conversations with people. If you haven't looked through it, look through the hard copy version. The PDF is nice, but it really comes off the page. There's some real specificity about the ARPA program. Kim has done all this tracking and provided all this information. If you're wondering where the ARPA money went, it's here line by line. There's good stuff in here about our marketing programs that we're doing. Lori has put together a great assortment of the different outreach efforts we do. So if people are wondering, what we're doing to get in front of people, there's a lot in here in addition to just the recap of some of the projects and initiatives. The last thing is to tell you that the River Valley Redevelopment Agency Community Development and Environmental Improvement Program deadline was yesterday, and we received 12 applications, which is about in line, a little more than last year. I think
10 to
last year we had
12 average.
10. So that's it for your staff report.
Thank you, sir.
Two things, going back to the, what did you have in the seat?
The high school job fair.
Wonder if I was invited to that.
Lori mentioned there was an empty booth with a sign that said Andy will be here after lunch.
Lunch is my best meal of the day.
Was MED then? Thought they were listed.
I can't remember.
I think MED participated. I think they were listed somewhere, I thought, and then.
The other you was there.
Yeah, if MED was there in any form, it would have been me. So,
Just trying to help you out for the game.
no, and then, there was some mixer, chamber mixer.
29 at the Best Western here in Canton.
All right, well,
We'll follow up with information for everybody.
if there's any of those that you want us, or that are optional for us to attend.
Well, you're invited to all of them, but
Okay.
I will get you the info.
I'm done.
Okay, thank you.
I told the legislators, take a minute, go through this. I said, even if you don't read it, just look at the pictures. And
Thank
the
you.
headlines. And the.
Next year's will be in comic book form.
And of course, the graphic map, I really think is brilliant. Really, really good. And.
Who came up with that?
But I urge them to at least look at the headlines and just get an idea of all the different areas that we cover. So, don't know if it'll do any good with some of them, but, I did, make the case that, they might want to take a look.
There was a couple years ago, I recall one of the legislators openly laughed at the report and the economic benefits of the IDA, and I don't know who it was, but it still pisses me off.
It wasn't me.
Do you know who it was?
Well, I do. It was like 3 terms ago, though.
Okay, I didn't say it was yesterday, but I wanted
It was
to,
before you got me.
okay.
Yes.
And,
He lectured him into submission for it.
they make the point that I've been a strong advocate for the IDA and
And I appreciate that.
have educated them just as much as some of the, the problem, a couple of them is that they refuse to believe the evidence before their eyes. Patrick says, we work with Corning. Corning does a 25,000 square foot facility, and has grown its employment. And added, millions of dollars to the local economy, and they just say, oh, the IDA's always take credit for anything that happens in the county, even though they had nothing to do with it. And, what do you do with people who just, don't want to believe because they don't want to believe? And it's, some of those people are getting off the board for the year, so, it will make some people very sad.
Overwhelmingly, it's a positive relationship. I guess that would be my comment for you.
Thank you.
Okay, any old business? Hearing none. New business, resolution authorizing project at Civi Steel Northern Division. Patrick.
You want to get a first and a second?
Second.
So the important part is Exhibit A, or that's the concentrated informational part, I should say. The project, they're improving some improvements at the downtown office facility, as well as safety, layout, efficiency, and product handling improvements to the production floor, craneway repainting, replacement and installation of doors and windows, better access, new welding equipment for production. It's not a large project, as you'll see, $275,000, but it helps as they are acquiring new equipment, making improvements to the facilities. They have multiple facilities that they compete with within their own corporate structure, let alone competing with the outside world. They compete for investment internally. They compete against other producers around the region, the East Coast, that is. 139 jobs. I will point out, we did a small project with them last year where they had 135 jobs. So the employment is increasing. We recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Resolution authorizing application for grant funds through the Northern Border Regional Commission.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, Patrick.
We submitted a pre-application, back in March. We were informed that they have invited us to submit a formal application. There's a request for a resolution authorizing us to do that, and then for Kim and me to be designated, authorized, empowered, and directed to execute agreements and sign as authorized officials as the application goes forward, and should it be approved. This is for $500,000 for the 30 Buck Street facility. We've talked about trying to do rehabilitation improvement. This is primarily envelope work, some roof work, entry, security, access, some electrical systems, that kind of basic structural work that then positions the building ready for specific showings for new uses going forward.
Other than 100 Patterson Street, what other projects have benefited from the Northern Border Regional Commission in the county?
The North American Forest Group Sawmill, the former ACO building in the town of Oswegatchie. The rail, Newton Falls Rail, specifically through us. The Kinney Warehouse Water Line project, back about 12 years or so ago. NBRC was involved. They've done numerous other projects where the IDA hasn't been the applicant, but those are the ones that immediately come to mind. I think you referenced 100 Patterson Street, that was 500,000. The North American Forest Group project was 800,000. The rail project.
I think two different ones for rail. One was, I think, 500 some change, and one was about 250.
So I mean, it's been a significant program for us.
Can I offer a suggestion that may or may not be a good idea?
Yes.
We might want what?
I said, yes, please, you can offer it.
Yeah.
I was debating that. I didn't know if I had a
Let's say.
a shot or not.
Yeah, that we send a letter to the Congresswoman and invite her to come visit some of these projects to see firsthand the results of the project, because with the current mood in Washington of cutting a lot of programs, I think it's important that we have as many people as possible educated with firsthand knowledge of how federal programs like that one benefit actual communities, businesses, so that as these ideas come up to cut various programs in Washington, that we have someone educated about how it's actually working on the ground and has actually seen how it has benefited our area. And I know that, I'm pretty sure she's gonna be visiting soon. And so, you know, we can talk about it later, but that's my thought.
Yeah, I will point out that with this application and all of the ones we submit, and BRC in particular, we seek out and receive letters of support from all of our federal elected officials.
Right,
Reach out to all of them.
as a former staff hack, who wrote those letters, for another elected official, they don't always pay attention to what's happening. And I think actually going on the ground and eyeballing it gives them a different perspective.
Understood. My point is, we don't typically ask for one letter. We ask all of our elected officials.
Yeah.
at the
But
federal level.
they've offered, I agree with Jim on this one, they've offered a letter of support, now that it would be good for them to see the good deeds.
For them, you say. As opposed to, say, picking one.
I say invite all three.
That I think is an equitable suggestion.
Yeah.
Yes, that makes all the sense in the world to me.
Yeah.
But Senator Schumer was here with what, 30 million for Corning?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be all,
Yeah,
Yes, okay,
the two of you.
you were a little too nuanced for me at first, so can we call the motion?
Certainly.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye,
Aye. Opposed?
just helping you along there, big fella.
Motion carried. Thank you so much.
Ernie, you're all right.
Do we have a need for an executive session?
We do not.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We are adjourned.
Okay, I have one question for you guys in the room there.
We do want us to, let's stop.